Is August the 8th, 2024. It is 5:30 p.m. and this is the work session of the Trinidad Urban Renewal Authority. Item number one on the work session agenda, and you have to forgive me tonight, I want to be pairing off on glasses because I'm trying to break in some new ones and I'm not used to them yet, so I may see good, I may not, but just as an FYI. In any case, item number one on the agenda tonight was going to be an address to us and some information that we thought we would like to have from the city manager, Steve Ruger. However, I did get a text from him just a few minutes ago that he is headed out of state for something he had to fulfill for his coming employment. You're all aware Steve Ruger, our current city manager, will be departing from the city of Trinidad in that position on, I think, August the 25th. So it would have been a good time to bid him a fond adieu, but I guess that's not going to work out. But in place of that, I guess if you want to call it that, I did get an email from Nick Mason, who's a city planner. And one of the things that we really, I think our main topic of discussion we're going to be with Steve Ruger was the planning grant that we had talked about. Yep. So I will read in verbatim what it is that Nick Mason said. Just wanted to follow up on the status of the grant, which is the DOLA planning grant. The grant was approved. They are going to fund $96,000 total of the position the next 2 years. We are projecting the position will come in at a total of $80,000 per year. So we will be looking at $24,000 from the development service budget and $8,000 from TURA for the next 2 years. We are waiting for the agreement from DOLA, and I'm working with HR to finalize a job description posting for when we get the agreement finalized. Nick Mason.
That's great news.
Yeah. So if y'all remember, the purpose of the grant was to create a position that will be permanent position after the first 2 years of the planning grant about. We will be a part of that, and the position will be to assist us, not what we're thinking is the whole panacea, but for where it is applicable, because it has to do with housing. So that requires then that it's going to focus is going to be for multi-use buildings in the core district of Trinidad. But it does fall within the parameters of what we want to do in the future. Under the conditions of how we're operating now, it's probably 1,000% better.
Yes.
We will have some semblance of a director, and I wouldn't call it a director, but we're going to determine how we do that as well, because it's not going to be basically a director, but it's going to be assistants, unless we figure out another way that can be that we can appoint him as director. But it's the beginning point of something for the future, and as he stated in there, he's trying to work with HR to see how they get that position put together, and I guess get it advertised, and hopefully sooner than later there will be something out there that we'll be able to work with. And I think that was the main, the gist of what we wanted to talk to Steve about. I'm sure there were other questions, but that one was the one that we had worked with him on in the past, and that was the genesis of it all, was with Steve and the planning office. So
we did a good job.
Something in the weeds.
Yeah, and the person that's going to qualify for that is really going to be help us, because they're going to bring a lot of knowledge and experience that we just, in many cases, just lack. So that's great.
Are we going to assume some of the cost for that?
We our throw-in is going to be $8,000.
So that was the $8,000.
That's the $8,000.
All right.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's great.
24 and 8. Yeah. So if it's an $80,000 year position, we'll probably try to talk it down so we can pay less. Just kidding. All right. Anything else on that? Again, it would have been a good opportunity to visit with Steve, but before he departs, it looks like that won't be. So I guess if you have an opportunity, stop by and give him that pat on the back and the shake of the hand. Luck for his future endeavors. Item number 2 is the Trinidad Opera House. If you all recall, a few months in the past, we did receive a request from the Trinidad Opera House, and that was facilitated through the city manager's office. And the thought process was to see how Trinidad Urban Renewal Authority could assist with what would be the stabilization of the northwest corner of the building, which has had a pretty visible deterioration over the years from whatever the varying sources are. And so that came to us, and we've basically, I think in principle and in theory have agreed that this is something that Trinidad Urban Renewal would and should participate in. But there have been questions that have come up, and one of the main stumbling blocks, if you want to call it, that's what I call it, is the ability to create or to locate a service that could administer the loan for us. All these other things, that will come in place, that's been the stumbling block, and I've got had some possibilities, and I'll explain as we go further. Some of the stumbling blocks is I contacted local banks, and they don't really service loans that they don't originate. So I did make contacts with local lending institutions. I also contacted it's been out there to more than one. I lose track where it's been. I contacted a local title and escrow company that indicated that they would be able to assist us, and that went back quite a bit of time after the initial communications and contacts I had, just to get any more responses. So it died for the lack of a second, but not because I didn't try. Did a couple other things I did also, and the referral did come from, and we'll be talking to Linda Evans in a little bit. I did get a referral from another company, US Escrow in Greenwood Village, and the initial indication was that they thought that they could assist, but really communications from there have waned and really gone to nothing. So there was communication with Paul Benedetti, and the indication that he gave back to me was they didn't think they were going to be able to do anything beyond the incremental payments through the construction period. But I haven't gotten that officially, and I've not been able to get any responses to my phone calls or to my emails. Ultimately, I did also through that period of time contact Pueblo Urban Renewal Authority, and I thought I was going to be speaking with Jerry Pacheco, the executive director, and he had been gone. But I was contacted by and did have conversations with Andrea de la Garza, who is his assistant, and she referred me to an agency called NeighborWorks of Southern Colorado. And on your seeing places, I put something on there, and you can go onto their website and see who they are. But I just printed something to have a reference because I don't know if we want to do any internet searching at this point. And when I spoke with her, there's, again, periods of time, because this is a time of year where vacations happen and other things, so didn't get it within certain time frames, but I did, today I did get an email from her indicating that she believes they are in a position to assist with creating the loan and going through with the servicing. That did happen. Her and I are scheduled to have a call at 9 o'clock this coming Monday, whatever that is, August the 12th. So again, it's the time sequences. I can't say I've not been asleep at the wheel, but sometimes things don't come together within the time frames that you would like them to. It's a matter that needs to be addressed. I mean, I see some urgency to it. I think everybody does, and I think we'd like to get it from dead center and going in a positive direction. So all that said, one of the in prior meetings, and I was out last month, concern was aired that a couple of things needed to be clarified. One is what the long-term plans or what the possibilities are going to be for actual renovation and redevelopment of that property going forward, and what is the plans for succession in the event that there a principal or principals of the LLC, principals, members in this case, would be. So with that, I refer to Paul Glenn, who has spoken to us several times in the past. He is with us this evening, and he will provide to us that information. I did forward to everybody emails yesterday that were provided to me by Paul Glenn, so you've seen them. I sent those to you on an individual basis, not a broadcast. I didn't send that copy to you, Des, I'm sorry, but I sent it individually to everybody, so it's not a
not a meeting.
violation of the open meeting act. Okay, so, and also tonight we have Lisa Evans, who represents and works with Dana Crawford, and she will provide some more information and insight to this all. So I guess the beginning point to this, Paul, if you would come forward,
Sure.
please, and thank you for being here.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you, gentlemen. It's good to see you guys again.
Good to see you.
So with the email that you received from Ed, it does have a copy of the secession letter. It also has kind of the phasing, which we had submitted a while back. Really, that hasn't changed much. We are looking at some opportunities for various smaller portions of funding right now, just to help stabilize the building. And then you got a copy of the preliminary agreement, as well as just a couple of renderings of what we were thinking about inside and out. And so I think tonight, what I'd like to do is have Lisa Evans come up and explain a little bit further and in detail funding, succession, et cetera, with respect to Dana's. So Lisa, if you'd like to address that, it'd be great.
I thought it'd be better to come in person than just have a letter about me. So, Jerome
Yes.
and
Jeff.
Jeff, very nice to meet both
Nice to
of
meet
you.
you.
I got here a little early, so I was able to introduce myself. But I first met Dana in 1996, and I worked with her full-time from 97 until 2007. I managed her real estate development projects in the Denver metro area, most of which were historic preservation, but then some were new development. We have always maintained a very close friendship. So I went out on my own, hung my own shingle in March of 19. So of course that was when Dana got me back in. And Trinidad has been one of my main areas. So it was probably in 2019 that I first met Paul, and I was Dana's project manager for the East Street School redevelopment. So I basically worked with her on all the fundraising. She had already assembled some of the key partners. One of the advantages of that site was an opportunity zone. But anyway, she assembled the key partners, but I actually helped her then ultimately pull it all together, worked with Paul, negotiated with the general contractor, Arc Valley. I started in real estate development back in 1987, and that was in California. And then my husband and I, we moved here in 96. In between was grad school, as well as doing sort of more land management, large scale, more urban planning. That was in Eastern Europe. So I have over 30-year experience, know Dana intimately, know what she wants, and what her vision here is to, fix the buildings she has fallen in love with. So I am committed to, if something were to derail with her, I am committed with working that through. I am also working with her, the executor of her estate, that is one of her 4 boys, and so we meet regularly. So I have a depth and breadth of her activities, and I want to try to make things a little easier for her, as she is now 93. So trying to take some of that off of her plate. So then that brings us to where we are. I probably took some bold steps sort of realizing that this service is really becoming the fly in the ointment, the whole thing. So I've had quite a few conversations with Ed this week, and prior to that had traded some emails, but I'd be happy to be a fly on the wall to the call you have on Monday morning. Anything, obviously as the borrower, I do have a vested interest, but I know we all share the desire of getting, the Opera House desperately needs some certain repairs. And then going forward, I'm working with Dana and other people that she has connected me with to actually complete the fundraising so that we can follow the schedule that we've got, that we had laid out for you. It's a daunting, not daunting, but it's a heavy lift, because a lot of people that we will have to bring in as partners, they're not as familiar with Trinidad. So we really have to educate them on who you are, what this city represents, and then also filling in all the details on the projects. That's key to everything we do. One of the things that, somewhat related, because you referenced it in the agreement to negotiate the loan, the Colombian hotel, the retail tenants are now, with support from one of Dana's employees down here in Trinidad, pretty much they're all under a regular lease again, because month-to-month leases don't do anyone any good when they're trying to raise money. And so it's trying to put in place all those basic building blocks that we need in order to be successful with the finish of the Opera House. So it's me in the flesh, not just what Dana wrote about me on the
Appreciate it.
on the papers. So yeah, no. I mean, I have a vested interest in seeing her works completed. So I will probably not be much of a stranger, but maybe more turning up like a bad penny as you're walking down the street. I might say, hi. So
Yeah, Paul.
yeah, I know. Paul is the architect, but we are definitely moving into much bigger, all the other, architecture is important to any of these projects, but there's a lot of other things that have to come together to bring this forward. So just as that first step, whatever I can do to help you get through our servicing so that we can get going on this project. Paul is currently, the estimate that he had from the contractors for the emergency work is quite old now. It was obtained some months ago, so that's in the process of getting updated. He's got to complete all his drawings and get that in for permitting. So we're trying to dovetail all of that with what you all are graciously helping us with. So.
Commissioners, questions?
Maybe a question, but a couple comments. First of all, those renderings, wow. I close my eyes and I see that on commercial in Maine. Okay, it's not hard to see that, both the exterior and the interior. I'm satisfied with the succession letter, and certainly with somebody who's worked with her collection or operation for a long period of time. So that's not for me, that's not an issue at all. I actually think, in the big scheme of things, we just did an upgrade with regards to just bringing new people to the table that we can interface with. Okay, because I know Dana's busy, formidable still at 93. They're
Yes.
busy. Okay,
Yes.
so it's really nice for us to have somebody that's a numbers person. We can do that because we feel really comfortable with Paul what he's already done in the community and that sort of thing. I'm interested in, and I don't know if this is the time, but I'm interested in actually getting down to that, to getting in the weeds of where we
Yes.
are with the loan.
Yes.
And the two areas there, for me, Chair, will be certainly the servicing of the loan. That's been a stumbling block, and Ed's been running it, I've been running it different ways. The board put us both in an opportunity to kind of small group that a little bit, and I think we've made progress, but we don't have an answer.
Right.
Okay, we need that answer, because we don't go anywhere without that. And then the next thing will be certainly in the terms.
Right.
And I look forward to a discussion with regards to the interest rate specifically.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
So that's kind of where I am, Chair. I don't know if we're at that point now to do that or what.
Let's first, because of the question and the purpose, one purpose for Lisa and for Paul was to provide us with that information about, what's going to happen going into the future and, as far as the development and the succession. So now we have that, so I just want to see your questions on that.
Satisfied.
And then I'm going to see if you're comfortable talking about some of these things
Yes.
as far as the financial part.
Right. And I was going to say, if it's something where we can discuss here, but then if you need me back next week, so we can just sit down and hammer this stuff out.
Right.
I mean, I just feel if we can just sit in the same room, we'll be able to.
Well, and if I may, one of these things that makes us hard for any board, any commission,
Yes.
is we meet once a month.
Right.
Once a month is not the speed of business.
Right.
So once a month doesn't really get many things done. So I'm always sitting here, and I know Lisa knows, can we compound the benefits of us
That's-
meeting
Yeah.
right now and move forward? So
Well,
thank you.
and the reason I think we brought it up and the board agreed to it, that you and I would do all these
To
things
expedite.
to bring the whole package to the board.
Yes.
Because that once a month and everybody having to, so that's the reason that we make those contacts, so.
Yeah.
Commissioner Lopez.
And thank you, Lisa, for being here with us tonight. I'm probably the biggest reason why you're here. If you haven't heard in this, seen in the notes, or watched some of the Trinidad Times TV, my biggest concern was the succession plan. The unfortunate passing of our dear friend in Trinidad,
Yes.
native Jay Chimino, brought that to the forefront for me. As a county commissioner, and also as a board member of 13 other boards in the community, it really is a concern for me that we have this protecting this agency in this capacity as a loan officer or a loaning mechanism,
Right.
and invading in the private sector. So what I've said in the past is this fits in our toolbox if all the other components are ready to go to work. If the other components are not, and Paul can attest to that, then are we invading in the private sector instead of being an assistant to a blighted project or a blighted building in the community, which I think we're at the next steps, and I thank you for coming in, giving us this information. To your point regarding getting into the weeds and the nuts and bolts of it, just like this board had in front of us with Mr. Chimino's group regarding the recent extension, I think those records would be prefer to be private and off record for Ms. Crawford's finances and in
Yes.
open session in public.
Right.
So I think these two can be the ones we've appointed, Chairman and Commissioner Howlett, to work those out and then bring back to the board at our next meeting. Unfortunately, we do meet once a month. So for me, that would be the concern I have. The questions I have regarding the plan, the design build phase of it, and you just kind of touched on it briefly about how we have to dovetail all these together. So my question, I guess, is to Paul or to both of you, is that are happening yet, the design build, so you can find out cost evaluations and RFPs and RFQs and all of that stuff moving forward at this time? Do we have kind of a dollar amount at that point? And then I'll give my follow-up question for that.
We have, well, the project admittedly is not where we want it to be right now, because I just feel like time is running through my hands like water. But the rough estimate that we have for the total project is roughly 12 million. So it is a sizable project to put To put in scale, the East Street School was $9.5 million. The Fox West Theater full renovation is estimated somewhere to be closer to $25 million. So this will be a substantial project. To make it work, we have to demonstrate income production. So our first phase is really centered around getting the first floor and the lower floor finished and activated so that we can get rental income coming in off of those. That's key. Then the phasing of the residential above is the really sort of the third and fourth phases.
So it works in tandem with progress of availability of funds through grant processes or otherwise. So
There's, right,
that's my
grants,
next question.
investors, yes.
That's my next question is, what is the availability to projects like this now in 2024, moving on through whether USDA, housing, CHAFA, all the other, you would know more than I would. What does that look like in the marketplace for assisting your project moving forward if you meet criteria of your phasing, which you were speaking about?
Right. So far for Trinidad, we've had an excellent track record at getting grants or other funding sources coming together. A lot, of course, are going to be, and what we're looking at with the Opera House, are state historic tax credits, federal tax credits, any grant funding. There's also, we've been working with, and I have a meeting on Monday with in the Attorney General's office for some of their out of the opioid recovery settlement. There are funds that could be made available to the Opera House. It's not the pitch to the Opera House is not what East School had and what Fox West Theater had with the creatives. So the CCI grant that we received through OEDIT, that is something that's more anything that falls under the creative umbrella. So Space to Create, the Fox, and East School all had that.
Could you elaborate on the opioid? Los Angeles County entered into that lawsuit years ago.
Yes.
Commissioner Felix Lopez, my fellow commissioner, is the chairman of the opioid
Yes.
Region 19.
Yes.
I have never heard of that grant process. Is it part of that through the Attorney General's office on that funding?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So-
and actually, so the conversation that I'm having on Monday is with the Attorney's General office here, but also
Is Phil coming down?
he is not. This is with somebody in the AG's
I'm
office.
sure Felix will be there. I'll have
Right.
make sure you introduce.
Okay. But he's on our hit list because we are actually going to be able to demonstrate the program by we are applying for a grant. It's due. So he is part of or the head of C-Corps 19, so Southeast Colorado Region number 19, right? So the AG's office, how they plan to distribute those funds throughout the state. So initially they've got a budget of, I think it's $1,370,000 right now. So we are going to apply and use classroom space at the East School for different therapy training, art therapy training, then moving into the culinary space so that we can have culinary art training. So that initial seed money will go for instruction, materials, and whatever facility rent that there is.
And that could be stackable towards other grants for the Opera House.
Right,
Okay.
right. It will demonstrate the AG's office knows the need is here, but it will demonstrate how those programs can work. It's very important.
So there, you feel confident that there's grants and funding available through fundraising or otherwise to get this to completion in the next 5 years, 10 years? What is your
Our
projections?
plan that we had put together was really to have it done in the next 5 years.
Okay, so
That's-
upon completion of the loan, if the negotiations are hashed out, and so pretty much the completion of our loan to you would be the end result, completion of the first phase.
It's almost like the first, it's not even the full first phase. It's like just the immediate need phase. So because what I envision, given that work, the other thing that is just, I mean, there's nothing we can do now. We are at August 8th, but we've got to get that work done before the snow starts flying.
So the immediate need would be protecting the building roof and building facade from falling in, and that would be done within the first 5 years, or first floor, or first rental properties available?
No. The $140,000 that we've asked for in the loan is designated for foundation, masonry at the northwest.
Right.
Masonry and shoring at the
And shoring,
northwest
right.
corner.
That's what's got to get critically
Immediate.
done.
Immediate.
And the walkway.
Right.
Immediately.
That's-
And the walkway.
And the walkway. That's the immediate. Then we're approaching, we've got some other avenues to go through the State Historic Fund to get, because what has been causing all of that deterioration is the condition of the roof. So we've got to go through, our immediate plan is to go through the State Historical Fund. They can grant up to $250,000 that could get the roof fixed. So ideally, what I want to do is be able to know, okay, we're getting our loan and servicing set up. Meanwhile, Paul's got to finish his plans, but then we're also working on getting that grant for the roof so that we can get that. While all of that work is going on, and throughout the fall, and even now, starting now, we are trying to get those other funds, which may be some private monies coming in, other investors, to initially get that first phase funded, the whole first phase,
Okay.
not.
So on the construction side of the 140,000, has that gone out for a request for proposal yet, out to bid?
It has.
So we have a number that goes back to January of this year.
Yeah, that's
And-
changed, I'm sure.
Right.
So it's being updated right now, plus we're adding in some work to just, to dress up that walkway.
And on the legal status of this loan application, what I mentioned earlier of her age and what happened with Mr. Chimino, will she be the only, how does that work legally? Does that fall back to the estate if something
Yes.
unfortunate happens to her? So that is, we're protected in that way.
Right.
And then one last thing I would mention to Chairman Grego and Commissioner Howlett, as a board member of Terrell Partners, we're a lending mechanism as well. We do a lot of loans for small businesses in Los Angeles and Otero counties.
Okay.
And that might be another availability for some smaller things available. But however, we have a board of directors, and we also have a finance team that reviews the application, since we're not a
Gotcha.
bank.
Right.
Per se. What we do is we get
exactly.
grants from CDBG, we lend those grants out to small businesses, and back out. So we have a secondary team of financiers, such as Christy Cobley, our finance director, and Felix Lopez, he's an accountant by trade, is a county commissioner now.
Right.
And so I would ask that we properly vet the application if we do not have a bank assisting in that process, which would include finances and availability for repayment,
Right.
just like a typical loan.
Right.
Okay, thank you, Chairman.
Commissioner Heck.
Good stuff.
I'm an advocate of what you're doing. I'm from back east, and I know there was a project in my area that was done similar, and what it did for the town that it was in was extraordinary. I'm fairly new to the board, so I'm taking in a lot of this. I don't know any of you. I Never met Dana Crawford.
Okay.
Didn't know she was 93. So it is a.
I can't hide it, so, it's like, why?
As I walk by that building all the time, I marvel at it, the architecture, and always wish that it would come back to life, and now it looks like it may, and, well, I'm 100% behind. Hopefully, we can get our issue of the servicing done
Right.
quickly, so we can, enter into an agreement that works for everybody. So, thanks. That's it.
Thank you.
Commissioner Begley.
Thank you very much for coming and,
No problem.
and clarifying quite a few things. And also a name and a face going
Yes.
together really means a lot to me. I can tell you that, and I'm sure everybody.
No, I feel the same.
And so I've been an advocate, we're talking mainly commercial, and I want things to be done there. And I think you gave us a pretty good overall, for the short period of time that you were able to do it, because you probably delved into, hours and hours, and you condensed it really well for us. And, but anyway, I feel comfortable with it, and I feel Paul's gonna be doing stuff. I know this is kind of dragged out a little bit. I mean, we are gonna see some things going on, but I know that on the 12th, when Ed does this, and I'm all okay with it, so I'd really like to see it going too. And the roof would be a big issue. You can dress it up on the outside, but if you don't take care of that,
Right.
it's gonna be an issue later.
That's, yes.
But anyway, I'm okay with that. I really don't have a question. I guess more statements than anything. But anyway,
Thank
just
you.
thanks for clarifying some things for me.
Yeah, it's, we've got 4 grants in State Historical Fund right now for the roof on various projects, and it's imperative you get it dried in, because the building, it's amazing when there's a building that's unoccupied, how fast it can deteriorate. I mean, it's incredibly fast. And so, it's needed it for a while. We've been patching here and there, and this corner has always been a problem. It definitely needs some redesign because of that, but that's part of the whole project. So.
One last follow-up, if I may, Chairman. I've done a lot of renovations at our local county courthouse over the past 7 years to the tune of millions of dollars. Asbestos, has that been identified or need to be identified? And have you looked at the Brownsville grants that are available?
So we have, we have, and it's a candidate for that. We have an old report. It was back when Georgie was here. It wasn't a complete report like we do now. So it's in that scope schedule that I gave you as far as an item that needs to get done up front. So even before you can do any structural stabilization of the building, we need to identify that and know what that is. So, and I have talked to Carrie Racky of Stantec about that. I think you haven't really moved forward with that yet.
It's come full circle to me again. Understandably, I think in my opening remarks, I pretty much said where it's at. So, all said, I guess. So the preference is that Commissioner Howlett and I, we will discuss more, but not here.
Right.
We'll do more in a more
Yes.
private setting. You've suggested some terms, but we'll talk differently about that.
Yes.
And then I guess I got to forestall it till after I talk to Sarah Habib at NeighborWorks Colorado, Southern Colorado.
Monday, right.
On Monday,
Okay.
then we can get together at some point and try to create we've met in person. We know who
Yes.
you are. You know who we are.
Yes.
So if we have to do telephone exchanges, it won't be bad. 'Cause
Zoom or
now-
something like that.
Yes, yes.
we've got everything in place. So knowing that it's not convenient to make those frequent trips here, we will try to minimize that. I mean, that's something that.
The drive's getting, pretty,
Oh, yeah.
I'm pretty good
Yeah,
now.
Yeah. Well, we try to, we'll work on that, and then, one of the things, and we haven't done anything officially on that preliminary loan agreement, although
Right.
Dana did sign off, and that was
Yes.
delivered to us, to
Yes.
Paul, I think, in June.
In June.
But the thing of it is,
We gotta hammer it out.
Yeah, but not to put anybody in any kind of a false hope position or anything else. You know, again, we're, in principle, we agree to it. It's just we get those things done, but, you know, it needs to be executed on our part. You know, we have not yet executed. And the reason not to do it, it hasn't been done, again, because if we don't have the components in place,
Right.
putting something together, you know, and it states it in that it's not a binding agreement.
Right.
But you know, to put those things out there and then, you know, put false hopes or additional delays and all those kinds of things would have been unfair to both Trinidad Urban Renewal Authority and the Trinidad Opera House's borrowers as well. One of my reasons for reluctance for us carrying through with that. But we in all sincerity want to get something done. That needs, you know, that's a, you know, your plans going forward are great. You know, we want to see that, you know. I'm an old man, so I don't know if I'll live to see what it is. But
No,
Yes, you
come on
will.
now,
Yes, you
Ed,
will.
you
Yes, you
have
will.
to, because Dana has asked me to get things done before she makes any
Well, yeah,
exit.
yeah.
So you're gonna be
yeah,
fine.
it's
You're
a
gonna
matter,
be fine.
matter of jest. I do plan on being around for a while.
Yeah.
So, but in any case, yeah. So we'll do that. We'll get with you. Okay,
Yes,
I will have
please.
that conversation with NeighborWorks to see what our next steps are with them.
Right,
because
right.
again, when I mentioned it, they have other programs that are to benefit rural.
Right.
And they service 19 rural, I don't know if it's communities or counties, I believe it's counties.
Okay.
Because Los Animas County was brought into that mix, and there's other things that are available. While it may not go through TURA, it might be our focus,
Right.
but it may be available for other things to happen in Trinidad and or Los Animas County. So my interest for being able to talk to them and introduce that to Trinidad as well, either with or beyond what the loan is, so.
Absolutely. I mean, there's plenty of projects
Yes.
that need a jump start or a catalyst or just something to make that happen. People like Dana are rare. They can see they can see the totality, but they don't view it as, oh, there's nothing I can do. So
They can see the shine under the rust.
Yes, they can see it, whereas a lot of people just will write it off as a lost cause.
Sure.
So,
Chair, and you know, we have that meeting on Monday. The chair's going to be doing that. But I still want to encourage and invite you or anybody in your network to still bring a solution to us, so we're not,
yes,
so we're not a one-off. So
that's
okay, so I want to still
right.
make sure that
Oh, yeah. No.
our objective is that loan servicing thing.
right.
We may have an answer for it, but we may not have an answer for it.
Well,
So
and-
please don't stop any of your
No,
efforts.
no,
okay?
and I before the meeting started, I shared with
Okay.
Ed
Yeah,
a little
she
bit
has, yes.
of
All right.
different angles that I'm still sort of
Okay, good.
working because.
Thank
Yes,
Yeah.
it's
And it's
difficult.
appreciated. I mean,
Oh,
this is
right.
one where, you know, just as an informational thing, you know, had the approach come to us a year ago, year and a half, 2 years ago, this probably couldn't be considered because our treasury wasn't great enough. You know, not that it's all that great now, but we're in a better financial position now to be able to do something like this than we would have been, say, a year ago.
Mhm.
So this is one where, so again, we're not positioned or familiar enough with able to do this. So this is something of a precedent for us, if you want to call it that. I don't want to use that because sometimes it doesn't have such a good meaning. But this is, you know, they're you know, tepid waters for us, and but we're going to make the best of it.
We want it to become a model.
Yes.
That's,
Right.
I
Yeah,
think
yeah, but
it's a
we're
great-
positioned now to be able to do it, or this probably may not, should this have been a year ago? Probably not, but we've been able to generate revenues that, you know, have been very good for us. So, you know, we want to leverage those to do something for the community.
Yep.
Okay, great,
That's awesome.
great.
And again, I apologize for the delay, for my alarm and concerns, but I do represent a community, and these are community tax dollars. And I just, you know, I've been a county commissioner for 8 years, and that's my mindset anymore, so.
No, that's why I just,
You brought good stuff.
I mean, yes, I worked with Dana to write the letter about me, and then I just thought, well, this is silly. they need to meet me. So,
We
so,
appreciate that.
yeah, that, I
That's
mean,
appreciated.
I was just like,
When we spoke, I said, come on, just come on down.
no, I know,
Come on.
I know. It was like, what are we, you know?
I feel a lot more comfortable at this stage moving forward.
Yes.
Thank you for coming.
Great, well, no problem, thank
I
you,
do too.
thank you all.
Thanks a lot. We'll be in contact.
Okay,
In fact, will you be available by phone tomorrow?
yes,
I need to talk to you
Yes.
about what you told me prior to the
Yes.
meeting on that
Yes.
other possible source.
yes.
Okay, I'll share that with you after that.
Perfect.
Thanks, Paul,
All
and
right.
thank you, Lisa.
Thank
Thank you.
all
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Have a
it.
great
Nice to meet
evening.
Thank you. Thanks, Paul.
Yep, thank you.
Before you leave, I have to go disarm the alarm because
Oh.
somebody set it by
Oh.
mistake.
Paul, are you all rested up now? Are you ready to,
Oh, man, I am ready to go.
you ready to get shipped down here?
Didn't sound like you got disarmed.
Yeah, absolutely, no, we've got a whole bunch of stuff going on in our workshop now, so I'm sure we'll be back before you.
Well, if this works,
Huh?
if this works,
It's gonna work.
we're all in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna work.
Yeah, this is
We're gonna make it
from
happen.
day one, this, you know, I've always said this, that this project on that corner, without that building, is like a smile without a front tooth. It's been that way for 141
Yes.
years, so.
Like I said, I'm in the liquor industry, and when I got an empty shelf, it's exactly what I say, it's not an attractive smile.
Yep.
Right.
We'll face it forward and just get it done. You know, so either fix it or put a nice park there so it is attractive again, or something for the property. I think we're gonna have the PD show up in a minute.
Well, part of this includes the raccoon mitigation too. just so-
Thanks,
All right,
Paul.
thank you.
Thank you.
I tried to help with that with CPW
Oh,
3 years ago,
Uh,
and the reaction I got from the game warden was, we won't touch the downtown raccoons because we take too much heat from the residents for harming those little critters.
Oh, gee.
Are you serious?
I tell you what, our raccoons can whoop anybody else's raccoons. They're well fed, they sleep good, you know,
They're so well fed.
well fed.
We think.
Yeah.
They're big
I,
raccoons.
Big, they're so well fed that they don't even
You know it
go
works.
after the chickens.
Thanks, Jen. Sorry.
Sardines. It just won't have anything to do with them, they're just
They're
interested.
they're living high. Yeah. So-
Thanks again, safe
Thank you
travels.
guys.
Thank you very
Good
much.
night.
Okay, so we're all comfortable, and
Yes.
Commissioner Howlett and I will continue conversation so we can get this thing where we need to go as quickly as possible. One question is just for time's sake. If it were necessary to call a special meeting
Yes.
to try to speed these up, is everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
We're gonna be starting school and
We would try to make it early evening and get to it quickly.
Oh, that's fine.
You know, yeah,
Anytime after
Yeah,
three is
because we're
okay.
dependent on city staff and imposing on their time as well. Yeah, so, what we want to do is be able to conduct business and get it quickly as possible, because, what we do, we depend on city staff to put it all together, and they too have a life beyond City Hall,
Does the
so.
city staff have a name?
A lot of,
No, I'm just saying.
So thank you
Yeah.
for allowing me to push this to this point, because, I really wanted to make sure we kept the professionalism and the integrity of what we do here, and then not evading the private sector, making sure they have the available funding or mechanisms in place to go after the funding, so we are that tool that we're supposed to be, and not just a bank. And that's the concern that I really had on this, so I feel comfortable.
I'd like to just comment. I think everything that she said and Paul said now, just kind of looking over, I don't think the timing was bad for you to ask those questions, because we were still waiting to get the loan thing. So I think it all just kind of, using the term dovetail, I mean, it came together.
Well, to add something on that, I really appreciate when somebody up here takes a little diversion thing. We're not supposed to always just make it the road, because everybody has a different perspective they bring. And
Right.
your experience with as a county commissioner or those kind of things, for me, even if we disagree, I want that coming, right? So it's part of the process. because I'm not gonna bring those same
But I
kind
mean,
of.
but the timing wasn't,
Yeah.
we were still waiting to get this done, so
Yeah,
I don't think it hurt anything.
Well, it's, you know,
No, I appreciate it.
yeah, and so it's one of those things where the police, the police. But, so, yeah, and so it's just a matter, you know, we want that comfort factor for everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, the proof in it all is you know, we can go to a vote and whatever prevails. But you going into it, if we can have everybody as comfortable as possible, we want to be cohesive in what we do. And so that's where it's at. And again, you know, some of the things that make it difficult is because, not some of the things, it does. Once a month meeting is difficult to conduct business, but then again, trying to do things more frequent than once a month could be impossible.
Well, if you think about it, this pretty soon is gonna be old business, and we're gonna have new business, and we wanna have that kind of team rapport that actually allows us to move through all
If
these
I can
things.
make one recommendation in your negotiations phases of this, is treat this as and you as a banker, well, as a board member for International Bank for years, you know this, would make this loan follow the proper guidelines and treat it as a commercial loan.
Oh, it has to.
And with commercial rates.
Well, it has to.
Well, without a doubt, well, and the bottom line is, we need to come out of this thing as this being a great deal for TURA. They need to try and do what they're going to do, but our thing has to do with what is in the best interest of TURA, how do we?
So when I read the loan here, it's way low on interest.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, you can ask, don't mean you're gonna get it.
Right, so.
That's exactly
I
right.
just, when you guys go in this negotiation.
We had that conversation before the meeting, saying that, good luck with that.
Okay, that
Yeah.
we all treat this
Oh,
as
yeah,
a commercial
oh, yeah,
loan and
yeah,
that's it.
yeah.
so.
Yeah, those are.
Because the board I serve on, Hotel Partners, we can adjust the interest rate above or below prime.
Yeah.
Because it's grant money. And we keep the revolved dollars off of the interest. And then we relend those as well. So this is a totally different mechanism than that. And this is a commercial property, it's not a small business grant program, you know, to help out, you know, Jerry Bagley's construction and Pat Howell's newspaper.
We also want, if we can get into this business, where we're not competing with enterprise, but we are a funding institution, if we can get into that, we don't want to have made our first deal, not to be something that can't be a precedence for the next deal. Again, I'm about this being a model and less about this specific project, and more about doing this thing right. So when somebody else comes to us, we say, okay, here's how we handle interest rates, here's a 2% above prime, this is how this kind of works. And so it really ends up being a little bit more of a process that we work through, not these one-offs. Because you get yourself in trouble when you try and do a one-off.
There's another factor in here that we have to remember when we do this, is we are bringing in the tax increment, plus the monies that you know, our big boon is the property sales that we've made in the past, whatever, 3 years or whatever else it is. So those are public funds and we have to show how we're putting them to work. And one of those is to do, you know, for the abatement of blighting conditions, or for the elimination or the remediation of blighting conditions. So in the process, you know, we have it, and we have it sitting there. We need now to make it work, no matter how small or how large the reward is, whether it be interest or whatever. But we need to put it to work because we're bringing in a tax increment, and the other monies that we brought in, we have to start justifying why we have it, and it needs to go out to projects
Good point.
similar to this.
Yeah.
It does have to do it.
Right?
Well, this will act as a great template
Exactly.
going
Yeah.
forward. And that
Just last thing, Ed, you just brought up about getting together. Let's go forward with it, and if we needed to
Yeah,
have meetings, let's do it.
Yeah, before it'll happen, there'll be plenty put in, so it doesn't have to come in, and we have to hash it all. It'll be based upon the authority you guys have given to us.
Yeah,
So that we can get it, we will bring what we feel the best deal for all concerned, so that it's just say, yes, let's do it, and it goes to the next step.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be a protracted matter going and going and going.
Yeah.
Get it done behind us, and then we'll find a
But if we need
new
special sessions,
a new piece of
let's
new
do it.
business.
That's good, if you don't mind.
Do it before it snows.
We'll do it.
Yeah, very good.
Item number 3 on the agenda this evening is go-to meetings. And we talked about that in the recent past, and, you know, I think tonight is a real good example of why we need to have face-to-face
Yes.
presentations.
Exactly.
So, you know, go-to meetings are nice, they're gonna be, it's a necessity, it's not gonna go away in its, its entirety, but for situations and instances like we had this evening, that provides a better, I mean, I think it's what do you want to call it, a better feeling of where it is. It's got that. I think they get to know us on a more personal
Yeah,
level.
gotta feel comfortable.
Yeah, so, that's where it's at. So we talked about it, it is on the regular meeting agenda for action tonight. And from that, going forward is where we'll make our determination where it needs to be. Item number 4, the Hughes Lumber property. Update, if any, from Commissioner Bigley.
I spoke with Carl like I always do, and he just said that we're still at the same spot. And I'm not sure what to think at this point, except that, we had Tim Lamb come, and I think it's just a continuation of that, I guess, but Carl hasn't have any new news. He did say he wanted to get together with me that maybe we could, just no agenda, but just a visit. So
Quite possibly, it might be necessary, because if he's on the construction side, we may need to contact owner and get it from them. They may have something else, so we may have to get in contact, and I can do that for Tim Lamb to give us an idea, an email or some kind of correspondence of where it stands at this point.
And if that's something that you want me to take care of, I don't mind doing it. I just don't have his contact information, but
We'll get it.
yeah.
Well, it seems like the question always with them now is, where are we with Colorado Historical? Because that seems to be, that seems to be the bump in the road right now, is until they get them to do their next thing, they're stuck not being able to do item 2, 3, and 4.
Well,
And so where are they with them approving some of the stuff that they
prior
need
to
to
Tim coming, I reached out to Ed, just told him, hey, we're kind of stagnating here. And it was after Mr. Chimino had passed away. So I knew things were in upheaval, and I think we all kind of can anticipate that. But now we're at a spot now where I'm wondering, maybe we do have to go up to, just not talk to Carl or whatever. Maybe we just need to.
No, it might be unfair to keep going to the contractor opposed to
Right.
the owner.
Yeah.
It might be there, so, yeah, we'll talk about that.
Okay.
Item number 5, board vacancies, an ongoing situation. It's just there, and if we've, hopefully, people surface and become a part of the solution and not
Do you
a...
live in the city limits, Desiree?
I do.
There's an open seat.
I did have a conversation with Steve from the Chamber's perspective and said, listen, if it'll help get more chamber members and business owners to sit on boards, what the Chamber's willing to do is, if you're a business owner and a member of the Chamber of Commerce and you sit on a board, you don't pay a membership fee to the Chamber any longer while you're sitting on that board. And so we started talking about what other incentives can we do, maybe to get some business owners and some people that are in the community to step up and start looking at that. So we started having a conversation. Now, with him leaving, I don't know kind of where we are, but we started trying to look at that, because we do know if we got more business owners and people that are managers of organizations or lead organizations, they're going to bring a lot of experience to these things rather than just somebody that says, yeah, I'll take that seat. So
That's a great idea, but why don't we offer that in a property tax deduction from the city of Trinidad?
Starting now.
retroactive through everybody.
For 7 years.
Everybody's grandfather, yeah. So, so that, we did have that conversation, and we were planning on sending out an email
Something better than
to our
nothing.
membership, saying, hey, this is available, if you step forward right now, this is what can happen, so.
Okay, thank you. Item number 6, items for future discussion. You want to put on the, anybody have anything they want to bring?
I want to keep chewing what we're doing right now,
Okay. If you do think of something, let me know, because sometimes my mind isn't that creative, so I try my darndest. Hey, with that being the case, we're going to bring the work session to an end, and we're going to go into our regular meeting. It is 6:29 p.m. Today is August the 8th, 2024. This is the regular meeting of this Trinidad Urban Renewal Authority. Item number 1 is roll call.
Bagley,
Here?
Hecht.
Here.
Howlett.
Here?
Lopez.
Here.
Grego.
Here. Item number 2, approval of the minutes from the July 2024 meeting. Provided that information to everyone in advance in the agenda. Hope you had the opportunity to review. Is there a motion to approve?
Have reviewed and motion to approve.
And I will second that.
There's a motion by Commissioner Howlett with a second by Commissioner Bagley. Are there any questions or comments? Roll call.
Bagley,
Yes.
Hecht.
Yes.
Howlett.
Yes.
Lopez.
Yes.
Grego.
Yes. Item number 3, acceptance of the financial report. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept.
Second?
Commissioner Hecht. Did you make a motion?
I was gonna make a comment.
Well, let's get rid of the floor first. Commissioner Hecht
I second.
and Commissioner Howlett with a second. Questions or comments?
Is there anything you wanted to highlight in here?
No,
The chair? is there
I'll
anything?
go for the questions or comments and then.
just a comment that I spoke with Treasurer Leonetti, and the Los Angeles County property taxes are very well being done. There's not a lot of delinquents at this point in time, as the normal percentage is. So we, her second payments that came in June were looking very good, so there's not a lot. So we should be pretty accurate of what our financials are with the revenue.
Great.
Okay, well, with that said, as of the end of business, July the 31st, 2024, our total tax increment collection for this year is $53,502, which is an increase up from the prior month that our balance of $8,505. That makes our total ending cash balance $575,602, with $2,468 in our project account. So as I stated to Lisa when she was here earlier, since we are in a lot better financial position at this point than we would have been in years prior, so,
How does our increment compare to last year?
compared to last year,
24,000?
I'm trying to think it was,
I thought it was like 24.
Somewhere around
28.
no, it didn't, I don't know if it topped 24. I don't think I have my, but
No.
yeah, oh yeah,
I think that was
we're
a rounding up to get.
way ahead. This is
Because we all seem to be
probably
24.
one of the best years that we've.
Yeah, I was
we've ever had.
worried with all the marijuana places going out, that we would really suffer. but-
Well, no, because the tax increment is not tied to that.
It's
The
on
tax
property
It's on property tax. And so there's a portion that we get above the base, which comes to us, and as a result of higher taxing to the properties that we're entitled to TIF on, which is commercial, industrial, multiple use, and vacant land. So those are the only ones, we don't get anything on residential properties, it's just for those 4 categories.
Well, one of the things, and it may be 5 years out, but one of the things that I kind of like with regards to the Opera House is, unlike some of the other buildings that have been reclaimed, those were done by nonprofit organizations, government entities, whatever, so we don't get any TIF on any of that. The stuff that looks like it's going to be in the Opera House is going to be something that will bring us TIF funds, correct?
The assumption is that it stays in the LLC as it is right now. Do they, going forward, does it mean you can't reestablish and create a charitable organization? And if that was to happen, you wouldn't realize any property tax or any tip.
Yeah, I guess part.
But as it is right now, yes, we would get it when it's redeveloped.
Yeah.
We would get it now because it's a vacant building. But, and it's within our
URA.
within the URA in our district, whatever district it's in, so we get it.
Just looks like potentially an opportunity that we haven't had.
Oh, yeah. Any building that gets improved and the tax value goes up, we have a benefit.
So that's why I've always been so cautious, even with this loan for that building, is because if the city entity, which we are, has ownership in it, other than a lending mechanism, then even 1% ownership, it goes off the tax rolls,
Yeah,
just like the Fox Theater did.
exactly.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm sorry.
All right, any other questions, comments? Roll call.
Bagley?
Yes.
Hecht?
Yes?
Howlett?
Yes?
Lopez?
Yes.
Griego?
Yes. Consideration of, item number 4, consideration of bills, and we have none this month, but we will have some next month, I guarantee that, legal bills. Item number 5, petitions or communications, oral or written. Is there anybody in the sitting audience or anybody on go-to meetings that would like to address Trinidad Urban Renewal Authority? For a second time, I will ask if there are any under petitions or communications, anyone that would like to come forward and address the Trinidad Urban Renewal Authority. If not, let the record reflect that no one has come forward. Item number 6, old business. There is no old business. Item number 7, new business. Go-to meetings. And the motion, as for what we discussed, is to discontinue go-to meetings except for special circumstances, conferences with attorney, consultants, or for other purposes deemed appropriate by the Trinidad Urban Renewal Authority. Does anybody want to?
I would like to make a motion to discontinue go-to meetings except for special circumstances, conferences with attorney, consultants, or other purposes deemed appropriate by the Trinidad Urban Renewal Authority.
Second the motion.
Commissioner Howlett with the motion to approve. Commissioner Lopez with a second. Are there any questions or comments? Okay, so going forward, there will only be, under certain circumstances that we will do it. And hope that creates some ease for you. All right, any questions, comments? Roll call.
Bagley?
Yes.
Hecht?
Yes?
Howlett?
Yes?
Lopez?
Yes.
Griego?
Yes. Item number 8, reports by executive director, which we do not at the present, but as the chairman, I'm working on and transacting business for the course of the month. Well, and again, as ongoing, thank Desi Sandoval, Mrs. Desiree Sandoval, for assisting us as she does. I think most of what I've done and over the past month, I've disclosed during our we talked with Lisa and with Paul, which includes the contact I made with NeighborWorks. And so that will continue, and all I got. Number 9, reports by commissioners.
None?
And of course I have one.
Okay.
This could affect TIF next year. Governor Polis is calling a special session together again because of property taxes. He's not happy with what happened with this Blue Ribbon Committee, and it backfired. The state cut money, but they saved money, but it's not going to school. So there's 2 ballot measures going to be introduced this year for this November election. He's trying to convene Congress and the Senate, the House of Representatives and Senate, to come together to address this now in hopes of dropping those 2 ballot initiatives. Those ballot initiatives, if passed, will make the state backfill all the funds they've cut over the past 4 years,
Oh, wow.
5 years. Introducing 700 bills last year, 750 bills is ridiculous. The state is running out of money. And if these pass to backfill the counties that we are on, unfunded mandates, the municipalities, school districts, they're having to scramble for funds. And if that passes, then the state's going to be even worse shape than they're in. So this is going to cost the tune of about $1 million just to convene this special session on top of it. So we'll see what happens. I'll keep you guys alert what comes to the special session. If they come to a conclusion and reduce our residential and commercial assessment rates again, TIF loses.
Yep.
Thank you. Correct?
Nothing?
Very good.
No work.
Well, then I guess we're gonna have, somebody's gonna jump up. Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Commissioner Howlett?
I'll second it.
Like
Commissioner
Luis, they
Bailey
can
with a
finally go
second.
ahead and get a hot meal.
We'll get pork chops and
No other- If there are no dissenting votes, we will consider this meeting adjourned at 6:39 PM.